This is Andy Purewal for Boxing News. I'm joined by Frank Smith here in Sheffield. Frank, an unbelievable night of boxing, concluding there with Arslanbek Makhmudov coming out on top against Dave Allen. What did you make of their fight?
Yeah, look, I mean, Dave Allen dared to be great against a fighter in Makhmudov who, was a level above where Dave had been in recent times. And, it's the sport we're in. And we don't enough times see fighters trying to take a chance like Dave Allen did tonight. All credit to Arslanbek, he deserved the win. But Dave will be back. When you create nights like that, when you create atmospheres like that with a fan base like Dave has, there is literally no limits as to where he can go in the sport.
Dave was coming on strong in the second half of that fight, but how much regret do you think he feels that he didn't kind of get to work a little bit earlier in the fight?
Yeah, I think it's easy to say not get to work earlier when you're getting hit by a 6'9" man who weighs 261 pounds. It's easier to say that in hindsight, But I'm sure Dave will look back. But when I was speaking to Dave in the ring, he sort of said, "I don't think he's ever been punched that hard," And look, he dared to take a shot at greatness, and I don't really think it changes much for Dave Allen, because he can go in there against any of the big fighters, the big heavyweight names, and not just as an opponent, but as someone who brings a lot of value to a fight.
Makhmudov's quite adamant, Frank. Anthony Joshua next.
I know. I keep seeing the DMs. I do think he started the DM process, and then AJ replied. But as I said in the ring, AJ's on his own path. He's going to do what is right for Anthony Joshua. I'm sure Makhmudov will get a big fight.
Is his name in the ring, in the hat even for an Anthony Joshua fight?
Not right now, in all honesty. There's a lot of discussions ongoing about what's next. There's a lot of discussions, obviously, about the Fury fight at some point. So let's see what happens. You can never write anything off in boxing.
Some other great fights on the undercard, and Bilal Fawaz was as shocked as everyone when the scorecards were read out in the fashion they were. Came out on top against Junaid Bostan. What did you think?
Yeah, it was an interesting way to read out the scorecards. Made it a bit confusing. All credit to both guys. And I do think as well with Junaid, you've got a young man who's come straight back into that rematch, who has showed so much maturity. Has changed so much, I would say, in the last 9 months. And he didn't have to do that. He didn't have to do that rematch. He wanted to test himself. I thought it was a close fight. I actually thought Junaid won by a round. But if they would have given it to Bilal by, it's hard to argue. But in my opinion, I thought Junaid won it. But yeah, credit to both guys, because it was just like the first fight. It carried on like the first fight. It was a brilliant fight. And also, how the hell he managed to keep up in the third round and then come back out in the fourth round like really nothing had happened. Yeah, so great fight there.
Josh Padley coming out on top against Reece Bellotti, a bit of a controversial one because I've seen various people scoring it towards Reece, some closer. What did you think?
Yeah, I thought a lot of people thought as well that Reece deserved to win the fight. I think sometimes with those, when the scorecards are so wide, like they were, in favour of Josh, it makes it even worse. If he won by a round on all the scorecards, I think people would be a bit more accepting of it. But again, it's the sport we're in. I don't see what changes, because no changes are being made. And I'm not an expert. I'm not a judge. I'm a boxing promoter's Excel spreadsheet. So I'm not the expert in scoring fights. But I think a lot of people who know the sport felt that Reece deserved to win it.
Just last one from me, Frank. Obviously, some good younger fighters on the card with some big performances. But Hamza Udine felt like a breakout performance from him tonight. Yeah,
brilliant performance, and he closed the show. That's what he needs to do. You can look flashy and look good, but Hamza went in there and he closed the show in spectacular fashion. And all being well, I think he might have hurt his hand. But if he's good, we'll aim to get him back out on our November card in Birmingham, which will be announced soon.
Frank, appreciate your time as always. I look forward to seeing you back down the railway in Birmingham.
Can't wait to be there.